July is behind us, and during this month I went to see 6 shows of various sizes. Some of them were small fringe shows and others were big, highly anticipated West End shows. And in this video I'm going to share my thoughts and reviews about each one of them. If you like the sound of this, then make sure to check out my playlist of all the videos where I'm talking about all the shows that I've seen within a month, and make sure to subscribe because I do this every month. Now let's start. My July started with a very seductive show called Dimonds Dust, and this is a show directed and created by Dita Von Teese, who is a well-known burlesque star. She's often labeled as the queen of burlesque. So seeing something like this was unlike anything else that I've experienced in the West End so far, and also was very special because I went to the Emerald Theatre, which is a newly opened and refurbished theatre near the Embankment. And this was a very unique night at a theatre, and I think that maybe I would not even call this a theatre. This is basically a cabaret burlesque style show, and everything that comes with these types of shows you can experience at Dimonds Dust. In terms of the actual storyline, the story follows Kitty Leroy, who is a card dealer, and the story is set in the Wild West, and throughout stories that Kitty is sharing with the audience, you're interacting with various characters. But all of these characters are bringing their unique stories to the table in the form of dance, acrobatics, in some cases it's circus art, in some cases it's burlesque, other times it's amazing choreographies. And basically the role of Kitty Leroy, who is played by Faye Toza, is to narrate us through these wonderful choreographies that you can experience during this show. If you're a fan of burlesque and Dita Von Teese, you would be pleased to hear that Dita is actually performing in the show as Lady Luck. She has select performances, so if you really want to see her, you need to double check when you buy the ticket if this is a night when she's going to perform. This is a night full of fun interactions with the audience, seductive dances, great costumes, and just generally a different flair of the show and atmosphere in the audience, because with the burlesque style of show, people are openly cheering and supporting when someone takes off the clothes or like does a particular move and things like that. So it's a very, very engaging show and you feel very close to the ensemble. Speaking of the ensemble, there are some incredible acts, and sometimes you just cannot believe what these people are able to do with their bodies, because this isn't just a show about the art of burlesque, but it's also acrobatics, and seeing all the different ways in which these ensemble members can move and charm you. It was a very unusual show for me, and I'm really glad that I have gone to check it out, and this is all thanks to Rachel Reviewed, who invited me to join her. She's also a theater reviewer, so shout out Rachel. While during August this show is closed, it's going to do another run from the 18th until the 21st of September, so if this sounds like something you would like to check out, then make sure to get the tickets. The second show that I went to see in July is Mrs. Warren's Profession, and while I didn't know anything about this play, I knew that Imelda Staunton is in it, playing opposite of her daughter Bessie Carter, and they are in this play mother and daughter as well, unsurprisingly. So I went to see Imelda Staunton last year in August, I believe, or July, when I went to see Hello Dolly, and I was amazed by her performance. And when I saw that she is in a new play this year, I just had to go and see it. And this was basically my main thinking behind it, and just the fact that she's playing opposite of her daughter, I thought that that must be really fun to watch. It was less maybe fun and more serious, because this is a show that covers some really serious themes, and at the center of it is the relationship between mother and daughter and how the two of them are learning more about each other. Or Vivi, who is played by Bessie, the daughter, is learning more about her mother. From the get-go, you get this scene set up where we get an understanding that Vivi is not really close to her mother, or that she knows much about her, that her mother has been traveling all of her life, and that basically she never really got close to her. When it comes to the set, it is fairly bare, apart from this garden mainly that is in the very center, but there are some interesting elements that bring the story to life more with the ensemble members who walk in at different times, and they add this spookiness to the show. And that spookiness comes from what Mrs. Warren's profession is, because it turns out that she is a person who runs multiple brothels around Europe with young girls in it and profiting on the back of it, and that she actually started her life and built her career and wealth doing that as well. And Vivi didn't know that this is the case, and slowly from the beginning of the show until the end, she is learning more and more about it, and we're witnessing her struggle to accept her mother, knowing that she's still exploiting young women, and that she also has a business partner who is a pretty much capitalist brute, who isn't showing any empathy or thought about how their actions might impact or be considered unjust, especially in the time when this play is set. One fun fact about this play by George Bernard Shaw is that when it was published at the end of 19th century, it was actually banned because of its depiction of prostitution and just generally how the business of brothels was run, and calling out societal differences, class differences, and everything else that plays a big role in how this industry is run. When it comes to the performances and the cast, it was incredible watching Imelda and Bessie play the relationship of Vivi and Kitty on stage, because there is just some underlying intrigue knowing that the two of them are also mother and daughter in real life, and this is a very strenuous relationship between the mother and daughter, and it also shows how far Vivi is willing to go to stay true to her principles and build out her name in a pretty much what's considered men's world. And the story ends with the two of them parting their ways and deciding not to speak with each other, which kind of leaves the audiences a bit heartbroken, and it doesn't bring the closure of happiness. It more brings that reflection on what do we stay true to? Is it our familiar relationships, and do we forgive our mothers, fathers, people who are so close to us by the blood, even though we don't agree with the things that they're doing? So I think that there are a lot of interesting questions that this play has brought to the fore, and this show is on until the 16th of August, so you don't have tons of time to go and check it out, but if you do, it's at Garrick Theatre, and seeing Imelda Staunton in action is definitely one of the highlights. If you can catch her on stage, I would definitely not miss this opportunity. The third show that I went to see in July was part of the Beautiful World's Cabarets, and this is a series of different shows that were put together by Janie D, who is an established actor, won multiple awards including Olivier. And what Beautiful World's Cabarets tries to do is to bring together both emerging and established artists to tell the story about our world, nature, and causes that they care about. The particular show that I went to see was by the Master, who is an artist, musician, actor, and just an absolute powerhouse. And the most beautiful part about this show was how full of heart and soul it was, because talked to us about her love for the ocean, about her experience of connecting with the ocean as part of being a free diver, an ocean conservationist. And while this is a very serious topic and it has a really strong call to action in terms of really trying to protect oceans and doing your own bit, where excels is her incredible talent, both as a songwriter, performer, vocalist, and ultimately entertainer. She has developed multiple numbers of introducing us to different ocean creatures and telling us about their stories, but then also she weaved this in with her personal experiences, such as, for example, there is this particular number that is fully instrumental because she's a brilliant pianist as well, where she takes her breath and for 3 minutes she is playing this melody that she hears when she goes in free dives for 3 minutes, which is how long she can actually hold her breath for, which is impressive. And this is a perfect example of a really important cause that she cares about, her artistry, and also having this amazing platform to share it. So I was super impressed by M's performance and the concept of Beautiful World Cabarets, because it has brought a lot of amazing artists together to tell the stories that truly matter to them, and made it also very entertaining and engaging to watch. While Beautiful World's Cabaret has ended, you can still follow the Master on social media and check out her website for any upcoming shows. She also has a series about ocean conservation with Dr. Max, who was part of the show, so if you're interested in learning more about that aspect of the show, then you should definitely give her a follow. Overall, I was super impressed by this performance and so thankful that she invited me to check out her show. The fourth show that I went to see in July is Burlesque, and this is definitely one of those highly anticipated openings in July, because this is a musical based on a very famous movie with Christina Aguilera and Cher, which was released in 2010. So you can say that this story has been calling to be brought to stage for the past 15 years, and finally it is here. And a lot of people love this movie for various reasons. My personal preferences are great music, great choreographies. It is also about burlesque, so there are amazing costumes, and also there is a story about pursuing your dreams and following your path like Ali in the movie is doing. And that's when she encounters Tess when she moves to LA and finds this burlesque bar where she starts working as a waitress, and then she starts singing and dancing in it as well. So it's very much a story about art. There is one big difference when it comes to burlesque on stage, and that is that they have changed the plot a bit, or I would say a fair bit, because Ali, who is now going to New York instead of LA, is going there because she wants to find her mom, who is Tess. And Tess is the person who runs the club. So while the characters have stayed the same, their relationship has changed, and this has caused, in my personal opinion, a little bit of a letdown when it comes to what the story is about, because Ali's pursuit of her artistry is definitely a second thought, and being closer to her mom is the first one. But this doesn't need to mean that the show isn't good. It just means that maybe it didn't meet my expectations based on the movie. But if you haven't seen the movie and you're not familiar with it, then I think going to see the show brought a lot of fun and exciting elements. As the title says, it is burlesque, and you can expect a lot of great choreographies, a lot of really fun costumes, some nice set changes. You can also expect to hear some great vocals by Jess Foley, who is playing the role of Ali, which was originally portrayed by Christina Aguilera, and she gets close to that voice and that style of singing. So if you like Christina Aguilera, you would be pleased by hearing Jess. Then also Todrick Hall, who is a director of the show and choreographer and has written a few songs. He's also playing two characters in the show, and he is very fun and engaging on stage and just generally brings a lot of good energy. He's quite different to Sean that is portrayed in the movie, but nonetheless, he does bring a lot of comedic elements to the show, and I think the portrayal of characters that he has brought to life was very entertaining. And then Orphe is portraying Tess, and she excels in these power ballads that some of you might recognize. Judging by the reactions in the audience, I do think that a lot of people have enjoyed it. If you are a bit closer to the storyline in the movie and you love the movie, I think you might like it a little bit less. But if you're just in for a fun night at the theater that is something different, that is very seductive, that is very entertaining, you can see it until 6th of September at the Savoy Theatre. Fifth show is probably my favorite of this month, and it is called Brixton Calling, and it just premiered at the Southwark Playhouse. It is a fairly short run, so if you want to check it out, then make sure to do that until the 16th of August. And the reason why I love this show so much is its storytelling and also what it is about. Brixton Academy is one of the most iconic London live music venues, and I've been there so many times to hear some of my favorite artists, but I never knew the story of how it all started, when it started. I just assumed that this venue always existed in its shape and glory like it is today, but that is not the case. And this is a play that tells us the story of how it all started. And it started with Simon Parkes, who in 1983 bought this derelict cinema building for £1. And he poured his love for live music and the community and everything that surrounded him to make this the venue that is world renowned today. This journey wasn't easy, and he wasn't on his own, so we are meeting another character, Johnny Laws, who is also pivotal in bringing some of the biggest names of the music in the 80s and 90s to this stage. Simon is portrayed by Max Runnan, and Johnny is portrayed by Tendai Humphrey Satima, and these are not the only two characters they're portraying, because it's just two of them in the show. They're portraying some additional characters, and the show is very energetic, full of some great well-known tunes by Billy Ocean, The Clash, and more artists that have performed at the Academy. But it is also a snapshot of the time, capturing some elements of Brixton riots and generally the changes in the fabric of society and how people of Brixton have been impacted and everything that has happened surrounding this building, and how this building and space for arts and protests and conversations has played such an important role in shaping not only Brixton but probably the whole of London. This is a must-see show for every live music lover or people who go to gigs in London, or especially if they go to Brixton Academy. It is very engaging storytelling. It is full of love and respect and admiration for people who have put their hard work into making this happen, and with a lot of respect for everything that happened during this time in Brixton. If you're interested in this story in general, there is also a book by Simon Parkes called Live at the Brixton Academy, and this is basically what inspired this show. So you can see this show at the Southwark Playhouse, and if I was was you, I would not wait. And the sixth show that I have seen in July is Till the Stars Come Down at Theatre Royal Haymarket. This is originally a National Theatre production, which was released, I believe, in 2024, and it was very much acclaimed, got a lot of praise. I think it transferred to Broadway as well, and now is back to London for a 12-week run. So if you missed to see it during its original run, then now is the time to go and see it. And there are many reasons why this show is worth seeing. Firstly, brilliant writing by Beth Steele. This is one of those shows where no sentence feels redundant. Every character has its purpose and is so clearly defined, and it really flows. And this is very much due to great writing and also great direction. Another really exciting aspect of this show is that you can actually sit on stage, and believe it or not, I was sitting on stage and it really felt borderline immersive. Obviously we weren't moving on stage, but as the whole play is set up as a big wedding, we felt like we are guests at this wedding. So to tell you a little bit more about the plot of this show, it follows a wedding day of Sylvia and Marek and their family. As with any family, there are a lot of skeletons that are kept in the closet, and as soon as the drinks started pouring in at the wedding, a lot of these skeletons started coming out, and we're seeing different members of the family deal with them all in their own unique ways. But this is a story about different family dynamics, about secrets, about how far love can take you, both love for your family but also love for your partner. But it is also a play about the impact of deindustrialization of the East Midlands and how immigration of people from Poland has impacted this, because the groom is Polish and the bride is English, and there is a clash of both cultures, perceptions, and ultimately that leads to pretty terrible outcome in the show. There are plenty of fantastic set design solutions, but I think because I was on the stage and so close to the actors, that really felt like a special way to see this show. I don't know how it was on the other side of the stage, but to me it felt very personal, and I think that the dialogues felt very natural, and you can really believe all these amazing actors who are portraying these characters with so much soul that they fully understand what they're going through, and ultimately they gave such a humane portrayal of a family who, like any family, has its ups and downs and sometimes consequences that are pretty much unforgivable. Well, this starts as a very uplifting and cheery show with a lot of humor that is trickled throughout the play. It does end with a very intense scene, and towards the end that intensity builds up, and if you're looking for a more chill and relaxed show, this is probably not the one. It turns out by the end that this show is not for faint-hearted, and some people were crying in the audience. It is just very emotional and very intense, especially when you're so close to the actors. So I would say that this show is for anyone who is into family drama, good acting, solid writing. Like, a lot of things about this show are just good quality, and if you like those kind of more serious plays, then it would be a great one to check out. Well, this concludes the list of the shows that I have seen in July. I've done the whole video here where I'm talking about my favorite shows so far this year, and if you're looking for some inspiration, I think that is the video that you should check out next.